So logging in. When you have your account, you can log in to Kebnekaise. You do that with any number of SSH clients, depending on your operating system. You can do it with ThinLinc, which is easier if you need a graphical interface. And I have ThinLink here. I'm not going to update it now, but Kebnekaise-tl.hpc2n.umu.se. You put your username and you need to put your password here. It will ask for it otherwise, but it will fail, so you need to put it here. And if there are problems, you can do this again and type end existing session. In options, you want to make sure it's in windowed mode, because otherwise, if you have a small screen, it will flow outside of the screen. And I believe security is the one you need to go and check that password is marked. And I think that is all you need to do. And then you can click connect. It will take a little while and then it will start up. And it looks like this. In a moment, I will be connected, I'm hoping. Yep. This is how it looks. You are now logged into the ThinLink login node. And here you can do, for instance, start a terminal or something like this. Okay. So this you could do if you're not using a regular SSH client. You can also use desktop on demand, OpenOnDemand. You again will get a graphical interface on a compute node. And there are options to either start the Kebnekaise desktop and run again in a terminal, but in this case on some resources that are allocated. Or you can start a Jupyter Notebook, RStudio, VS Code, or MATLAB. As I said, you're already running a batch job session in that case, so you can work interactive and run your programs directly. We will look at that in a little while. So now we need to go and log into Kebnekaise, and you should in this case use either ThinLink or an SSH client. We'll also look at desktop OpenOnDemand, and you'll also try logging in there, and also try interactive applications later. But for now, it is best to test the either the terminal or the ThinLink. So pick either of those, and let's go ahead and do that. This is the main login node, Kebnekaise, HPC2N, UMU, SE, and this is the ThinLink login node. It is also possible to log in through a browser, but you have less features, and it's a little bit annoying when you are copying between that and your computer otherwise. The desktop OpenOnDemand you get from HTTPS portal HPC2N UMU SE. There is also a login node for AMD-based nodes, and we can talk more about it later if we need it, but it's called this here. And if you want to log in with ThinLink, use that one. And that is simply so you can log in directly to an AMD node and see what software is there. This is less important now than it was because we now have a different login node. Previously it was a Skylake one, now it's an AMD Zen 4. So yes, ThinLink is recommended if you don't have a favored SSH terminal, SSH client. So let's get started. Let's all log in. And if you haven't installed ThinLink and you don't have another SSH client, then download ThinLink and install it. It's simply running the downloaded exe file if it's Windows. They have info on the macOS page if you need that. If it's Linux Ubuntu, you can download the Debian file and install it like this. There are also other versions of Linux that you can download and install if you look at this page. So, but if you're using Linux or Mac, then probably it's easier to just use SSH. But for Windows, ThinLinc is definitely the easiest way, especially since it's already doing the graphical forward, X11 forwarding. And there is descriptions here on how you open it, and that is what I just showed you. So one thing, if you haven't logged in to HPC2N, you can generate a temporary password here. So you authenticate in Super, and then it will give you a temporary password. You log in with that, and then you change it with the command passwd. And when you have done so, first it will ask for your current password. You will type it in and press enter. Then you will type it in again, press enter, and then you should have changed the password. I suggest we take a few minutes now and make sure everyone is logged in to their system, to Kebnekaise, before we go any further. So we are sure that no one has problem logging in before we start exercises and things. So until 10:03, maybe 3 minutes past 10. Let's do that. Okay, 10:03. Did anyone have problems logging in, or did it work out?
It worked.
Great. Okay, I will continue. So, file transfers. I am not going to talk much about this because we're not going to do any transfer of files for the course, but you may have to do it as part of your workflow when you use Kebnekaise or any other HPC center. So I will mention this briefly, and otherwise we have information here at this page about file transfers. So if you are on Linux or Mac, you can use SCP, Secure Copy. It's a simple way of transferring files that use SSH. And you can use them to connect to any system where you have an SSH or login access. And these examples will show you how to use SCP from the command line. There are also graphical programs for doing SCP. But this is command line SCP, and that should already be installed on Mac and Linux. So if you are on your local computer or any computer you are logged into, and you want to transfer something from Kebnekaise, you say SCP, your username at, and then kebnekaise.hpc2in.umu.se, then a colon, and then the name of the file, and then a space and a dot. And then it will transfer the files from Kebnekaise to your local system. It will ask for a password when you do that. If you want to transfer a local file to Kebnekaise, you do it opposite. SCP and then the file, and then again username at Kebnekaise colon file, if you want to call it that, or you can just don't put the word file here, and it will just put it in this your home directory. You can put a different path after it if you want to put it in /project/ no backup / spring courses / your username, for instance. You can also do recursive directory copy from a local system to a remote system. If you do scp -r for recursive, the source directory, and then again to Kebnekaise and wherever on Kebnekaise you want to put it. SFTP is SSH file transfer protocol or secure file transfer protocol. It provides file transfer over a reliable data stream. SFTP is command line program, and it's on most Unix, Linux, and Mac OS systems. And you can also pick it as a protocol choice in some of the graphical file transfer programs. For instance, FileZilla is a freeware one. You can do that with. But otherwise, you can do SFTP to the system you want to fetch or push something to. Then it connects to it, asks for your password, and if you want to upload something there, you say put the stuff you want to put there and where you want to put it, or just put it if you want to put it in the file in the directory it is you're already logged into, or you can change to a different one. And if you want to get something, you use get instead. On Windows, there's WinSCP, there's FileZilla with SFTP, which is free, and there's PSCP, PSFTP, and a large number of other ones. And you can transfer with SFTP or SCP. We have documentation on the Windows file transfer for that. Okay. I will talk briefly about editors, since editors on Linux systems are possibly different to those you are familiar with from Windows or Mac OS. There are both command line editors and graphical editors. If you connect with regular SSH, then it's simplest to use a command line editor. If you use ThinLinc, you can use either a command line editor or a graphical editor as you want to. On the command line, there are some good editors for using there. There are Nano and VI or Vim and Emacs. They are all installed on Kebnekaise. VI, Vim as well as Emacs are the most powerful ones, though Emacs is best in a GUI environment. The easiest editor to use if you are not familiar with them is Nano, because the other ones require you to memorize a large number of commands to use. So to start Nano, let's try do that. I will say Nano, and then I just get a buffer I can write in. I can say, hello, this is my file, if I could spell. And then I would hold down Control and press X to save it, or rather exit it. And it says, do you want to save the modified buffer? If I say no, it will just quit. If I say Y for yes, it will ask me for a file name to write to. So I will call it file2.txt, and it will save it. If I instead say nano and then a file name that doesn't exist, it will open a buffer again. This is a new file. And then when I do hold Control down and press X for exit, it will ask again, yes, I want to save it. And now it suggests the file that I already gave it when I opened it. If I now open it again, there's content in it, of course, adding more content. Control and X. And then I can either save it or not. If I don't save it, then I'm not adding more to it and the file keeps the way it is. So, and I could also just change the file name if I don't want to overwrite it. And then it says, do I want to save it under a different name? And I say yes. And then I got the files here. So, okay. So that is a nice editor to use. If you are in ThinLinc, and let's see, I have it here, then there are some other editors, and you find them. I'm just going to close this under Applications and System Tools, and there should be some editors here, which I think there isn't. Maybe it was moved. Let's see. Well, there is at least one editor. There's a dconf editor, but that's something else entirely. It's probably moved to accessories. It is, yes. So applications accessories is what it's called now. So here you can find Emacs, the GUI here, and you can find gedit, and you can find nedit and Pluma, and there's also Vim. And here I am going to suggest you use gedit. So go to Applications, Accessories, and gedit, because then you will get something that looks like Notepad a lot. And you can here either open a file, or you can make a new one, or you can also do find and replace and some things here in it, and save or save as. So this is in many ways like Notepad. So that is probably the easy one to use. And I'm going to also just quickly show ASP.C2N OpenOnDemand. And then when I've done that, I will do a combined exercise and then break so that you can spend some time testing the editors and also trying to log into the OpenOnDemand desktop, and then after that have a break. So we have another way to log into our system that is called OpenOnDemand. And if you use Luna or C3SE, you may have tried it. The link to it is https://portal.hpc2n.umu.se. And if you have an account and are a member of a project at HPC2N, you can use the OpenOnDemand desktop. And it's a web service that allows you to schedule jobs and run notebooks and work interactively. So for some things, it is more useful and for others not. I mean, some things are best to run as a job that you are not interacting with. But in many other cases, maybe you have some interactive things you need to do, for instance, in MATLAB or Jupyter, and then this is definitely the easiest way to do that. And I think I'm just going to start it up and talk about it there. So I will click here to open it. And I will then log in. And now it had remembered my username and password, which it actually shouldn't, but oh well. So it looks like this. Not so fancy right now, but it is quite useful. Under Files, you can get a file browser, and you can see what you have in your directory. You could, for instance, go to this one here, and your directory under the project storage. And here you could upload or download things, but you shouldn't use this for large number of uploads and downloads because it's pretty slow. And it will also slow it down probably. So, but you can create new files and new directories and move around in your file structure and see what you have here. So you could create a new directory by just typing here. So it's useful for many things. And here under interactive apps, you could say I would like the Kebnekaise desktop. And then you give some settings here, just like you would do when you were specifying a batch job. So you could choose mate or XFCE as the environment as you want. You can choose between your projects. I'm going to pick the one that we have here for the course. Hours can be 1 to 12 hours. I'll just leave it at 1. Number of course, I will also leave that at 1, but well, I'll put 2 maybe. And node type, any would be CPUs, any GPUs, large memory. I'm just going with any. And then I say I would like an email when the session starts because it could take a while, but it's not going to in this case, but I will launch it. And then I get 1 node and 2 cores, and it's starting, as it says here. And now when it's started, it tells me what host I'm on, tells me how much time I may work on it, and things like how many cores I have and that it's running and so on. So I'm just going to launch it. And now I get something that resembles the ThinLinc, with the difference being that I'm actually now already on a compute node. As you can see, I'm on BCN 1701. And that means that anything I run here, I run on that compute node. So I can do interactive work without disturbing other people on the login node. So I'm actually running a batch job, but interactively. So I will close this and I will delete it for the simple reason that I don't want to use the allocation when I'm not using it, because then it will take longer for others to start things. I could do Jupyter Notebook, MATLAB, RStudio, VS Code. I'm just going to start a Jupyter Notebook. Again, picking the project, hours, what type of node, and how many cores. And here I'm just going with the base Jupyter runtime environment, but there are ways to create your own custom environment, and that's described in our support here under Jupyter and Kebnekaise. So there's some information here, and there's also under the connection guides more on the OpenOnDemand and Jupyter Notebook. And I believe here I made an example on how you can use it with your own Jupyter environment if you want to add extra modules, for instance. But let's not talk about that now. You can also say I want to go to a different directory. So let's say I want to start in that one. Select path, and then I launch it. And I'm giving it a few moments. And now I have a new Jupyter notebook that I can work in. In this case, I just have one core, but I could have asked for more of them, and then you work with it as you would otherwise. Okay. You can do the same with MATLAB and RStudio and VS Code. Okay, and that's what I wanted to say about this section here. So now we were supposed to have a coffee break. I think that we should first take 10 minutes for people to play with the editors and to try and log into the portal and play with that. And then people should still have some coffee break. So let's say back at 10:45 instead.